In this video, we are creating Mewtwo's ultimate team in Pokemon. I will build two teams, each sharing their own unique traits. The first team, I'll be selecting Pokemon Mewtwo already has experience with, and the second team, I'll be bringing over 3 of the best mons from team number 1, plus an additional 3 new Pokemon, which I will handpick myself. Now, if you're wondering why I want to create Mewtwo's ultimate teams, it really came down to a single main factor, since typically I wouldn't make a team for a non-trainer. However, there's a very big distinction that I've discovered that bridges this gap, but I'll go over that after I built the base teams. So let's start with team number 1. In order to make the team, we need to pick the best mons from the group of Pokemon Mewtwo has actually been with. Looking at his first ever army of clones in the movie Mewtwo Strikes Back, we get a ton of Pokemon here. The dudes that I already know are going to be the best are the 3 Kanto starters, Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur. When watching the movie, these not only were the first clones to help Mewtwo, who wanted to prove that his clones were greater than their natural counterparts by battling them, but when they did fight, these clones absolutely swept their own kind like it was nothing, including Ash's Charizard. Granted, Ash's Charizard at least put up a better fight than the rest of the trainer's Pokemon, he still got seismic tossed from 1,000 feet in the air, getting thrown straight into his grave. The other Pokemon Mewtwo cloned are all from the trainers he brought to the island, in which we see a lot. These include Pokemon like Meowth, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Vulpix, Psyduck, Golduck, Rhyhorn, Scyther, Gyarados, Ninetales, Pidgeot, Nidoqueen, Rapidash, Vaporeon, Hitmonlee, Tentacruel, Wigglytuff, Vileplume, Seadra, Seal, Sandslash, and even Pikachu. All of these Pokemon are solid, but what makes this better is that these clones are even greater than their natural counterparts. Although to be fair, I can't tell by how much, since we see that they equally wear themselves out during the final fight between Mew and Mewtwo. Since I mentioned Mew, I might as well consider this one because it did fly along with Mewtwo and the rest of the clones at the end of the first movie, which basically tells me they might be on good terms, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Fun fact, all these clones actually get a second appearance in the next movie featuring Mewtwo, in Mewtwo Returns. You know, the movie where Brock uses his frying pan as a drying pan? The next time we see Mewtwo is in the Pokemon movie Genesect and the Legend Awakened. We actually see a different Mewtwo here, not the same from the original series, since this Mewtwo's voice actor is a female compared to the male we had before. Plus, its backstory, while similar, is different, meaning they're not the same. The reason I'm mentioning this Mewtwo is because it met up with a bunch of Genesect, and while they did have beef for the majority of the screen time, flying through the town trying to obliterate each other during the climax, Mewtwo just takes the shiny Genesect to see outer space and boom, just like that, they become friends. So for that, we're counting the shiny Genesect. Mewtwo's last appearance was in Pokemon Journeys. This is where Ash and Go went to discover Mew hiding in a mysterious underground water cave. What's crazy is that this is the Mewtwo from the originals and not a random one, so I appreciate Pokemon Journeys for putting some respect to the OG fans. Ash and Go, right after finding Mewtwo, of course team up and battle, but soon realize Mewtwo's the real deal and get absolutely cooked with one giant purple ball of death. After we wake up from the destruction, we learn Mewtwo was hiding, living peacefully with his new friends. These friends were Pokemon that got abused by humans, as Mewtwo has also had similar past experience, albeit a little rougher, but it makes sense for Mewtwo to take responsibility and help these little Pokemon. These Pokemon include Baneri, Skidoo, Skitty, Mudbray, Patrat, and Mareep. Although they're all in their first stage, there's nothing stopping me from potentially evolving them since some of their final evolutions are pretty good. Now I need to choose some of my own Pokemon I think would be suitable to be under the control of Mewtwo. The first is gonna be Malamar. Let me drop a little ball knowledge for those who don't know why I selected Malamar here. In Pokemon XY, we saw Malamar in not 1 but 2 episodes trying to mysteriously take over the world. Although Mewtwo is no longer about that lifestyle, they both served as the psychic villains of their time. I think Mewtwo would meet up with the Malamar and have them work for his plans. Mewtwo could either convince them to turn away from their evil thinking, maybe by explaining to them that their life doesn't have to resort to trying to destroy the world, rather destroy balance to those who seek to harm it, essentially becoming the anti-villains, or they just embrace the villainous side and team up together to dominate the world. Either one would make for really interesting stories. Lastly is going to be Lucario. For one, I think Mewtwo and Lucario are somewhat similar in terms of stoicism, and they each have a super strong connection to Aura, as seen during Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, where Mew was shown to be a guardian of the Tree of Beginning, which is a giant tree possessing the most amount of aura in the world. Mew was seen to be attracted to that aura energy that the tree was giving off, since it helped protect and even use its powers to help reverse the tree's damaging effects by healing all of the trainers who temporarily lost all their aura. And, as we all know, Mewtwo is the clone version of Mew, so what makes you think it won't also respond the same to aura? That's why I think Lucario would fit perfect as an interesting candidate for Mewtwo's army. Lucario likely would be Mewtwo's close advisor, being able to help translate Mewtwo's logical thinking into a grounded strategy. Now let's start saving the best Pokemon so that I can create Mewtwo's ultimate team. Starting with the clones. I've got to go with Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. I have to save the starters since they're all super strong. Along with Gyarados, as it's a Gyarados, Ninetales, it's pretty good, Golduck, solid psychic type, Scyther, not bad, Pidgeot, we love him, Nidoqueen, absolute tank, Rapidash, it's fast, Vaporeon, yeah, Hitmonlee, strong fighting type, Tentacruel, why not, Rhyhorn, I'm gonna evolve you into Rhyperior, Wigglytuff, it's the only fairy type, Sandslash, again for the typing, Pikachu, which I'll evolve into Raichu, Shiny Genesect from the Genesect movie, as it has to be saved, I mean come on. Then we got the abused Pokemon, which I'll take Skitty and evolve it into Delcatty, Mudbray, again evolve it into Mudsdale, and lastly Mareep, evolving into Ampharos. The other Pokemon being saved automatically are Malamar, Lucario, and maybe Mew. Now that we've got all the Pokemon saved, let's start with team number 1, the team that's only Pokemon Mewtwo has been in relation with. Remember, this will be judged off the anime logic and not the game logic. So if you're expecting a perfect team here, well, this is the anime's logic. The first member kicking us off in the group is Genesect. Is this even a question? Genesect has to be here. Number 1, it's a mythical. Number 2, it's a mythical. Genesect will be Mewtwo's ace, if Genesect allows Mewtwo to control it, that is, which I honestly highly doubt. But the movie did make it very clear that they were indeed friends, and who wouldn't want their friend to enslave them and force them to battle? Not to mention, Genesect can fly at super high speeds, dish huge amounts of damage, and be that Tobias Darkrai of Mewtwo's team. Secondly, we gotta have the clone Pokemon Charizard. Now, I know it's not as unique as Rapidash or Ninetales, the other great fire type options, but even if Charizard is quote-unquote too overrated to be here, it was again shown to defeat Ash's Charizard without barely suffering a scratch, and we know how powerful Charizards in the anime are. Likewise, for the third pick, it's gonna be the clone Venusaur. Venusaur is gonna be a great bulky boy for the team, decent typing, and we know it far outcompetes most of the other clones. For the fourth choice, I was pretty conflicted between Blastoise and Golduck. Yes, Gyarados was considered, but I already have Charizard who's a flying type. So I need to choose a strong water type to help Genesect's crippling 4 times weakness to fire types, and the greatest for the squad that I ended up choosing is Blastoise. Not just because it's another one of the strong starters, but since Genesect can already learn psychic type attacks. So there's really no need for a more inferior water and psychic type like Golduck, whose only real strength is its typing. Blastoise on the other hand can be another bulky tank while being able to hydro pump any pesky fire types. The fifth Mon was another close call between Raichu and Ampharos. I went with Ampharos. Although both are electric types, Ampharos is way more well-rounded than Raichu. While Raichu does clear in speed, Genesect and Charizard are plenty fast as it is, and I'd rather have a slow Pokemon who can at least survive a hit compared to a speedy Raichu. And you know what? I'll give Ampharos the ability to Mega Evolve as well, as it can turn into a super powerful dragon electric type. Yes, I could have given that to Charizard since he is a clone after all, but I think the bond between Mewtwo and an abused Pokemon like Mareep would be much stronger. In the 6th place, the last to complete this team is Rhyperior. Now what did I just say about having enough slow tanks? Well, apparently you can always have more. Rhyperior is here over others in large part due to its rock and ground typing, plus it's a hard-hitting wrecking ball of a Pokemon, only adding to Mewtwo's overall power in his team. This is squad number 1. I guess you could say the realistic ultimate team, and I think for the anime, this is pretty solid. Typing wise, probably not, but I tried to diversify it as best as I could, so it wasn't total brain rot. Now for the team that we all want to see, Mewtwo's ultimate team, where I'll add all the best Pokemon from Team 1 and my own Pokemon. Starting off, let's give Mewtwo Shiny Genesect again, as that's still the ace. Although, for my second pick, I'm going with Mew. Whoa, Mew, that's a stretch. While you might be right, it would be pretty weird for Mewtwo to catch and use Mew. This is Ultimate Team 2. I don't have to be confined to such restrictions as being realistic here. For the third place, I'm choosing Lucario. Another steal, I know, go ahead and bash me all you want, but I don't care. This is the anime. And if you were a trainer with a Genesect and plot Lucario, you're gonna be OP even if your opponent brings 6 Charizards. Speaking of Charizards, he's back in the 4th spot, mostly for being able to rival Ash's broken Charizard. 5th place is Malamar. I personally think this one suits Mewtwo's vibe. Even if it's the second psychic type for his team, it's still gonna perform very well. The final 6th spot is... This team will remain 1 slot without a Pokemon. I do like this team though. Mew is a crazy pick here, but if we're talking about raw power, come on. There's no question, Mew has to be here. About questions, do you remember what question I brought up during the beginning of this video? Why did I select Mewtwo? Well, the distinction I discovered is Mewtwo is not just here because it looks like a humanoid Pokemon, although yes it does resemble a human figure, and more so has to do with the fact Mewtwo has actual human intelligence. Not only for being able to communicate like a trainer would with telepathy that was shown every single time it's been on screen, it also had the ability to command other Pokemon in battle. For example, Mewtwo commanded the cloned Kanto starters to fight against Ash and the other trainers in the first movie. If Mewtwo can command Pokemon, what's stopping Mewtwo from deciding to become a trainer of its own? I think it would be a really interesting and silly concept, but not that unrealistic. So that's why I created Mewtwo's greatest team in Pokemon. Don't forget to join the memberships to be a part of my future videos or to support the channel. Regardless, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!